In this episode of my adventure here in Latvia, you're gonna find me expressing joy on a frozen beach, discovering the origin of the first ever Christmas tree, and count how many bullet holes KGB shot into this drywall. So what are you waiting for? Click the like button down there, and let's begin our journey into this frozen city. After bidding farewell to my pleasant week in Budapest, I boarded my $9 flight and took off from my memories. As I slowly watched the sun setting above the clouds, we began descending after a 2.5-hour flight into the pits of hell that have absolutely frozen over. I have never figured out the concept of negative 35 degrees in my entire life, but the first impression upon landing on the runway in Riga was not exactly favorable. Welcome to Latvia! Oh my freaking god, this is cold. Everything's frozen. And let's begin our day one exploration in the capital of Latvia. And please pardon the snot on my face. It was literally frozen stuck on my cheeks. First off, right behind me is St. Peter's Church, one of the earliest churches constructed by the Germans, because the entire city of Riga was founded by the Germans in the 1200s. It used to have a red facade until it was covered up by a new facade that is completely made of limestone. And you can see behind me, the spire used to be the highest wooden structure in the entire Europe for more than 200 years, until it was burned down in the 20th century by one of the invading armies, you know, the Soviets, Nazis, blah blah blah. And then in the Soviet times, because churches are not exactly the priority, as communism is the god at the time, the Communist Party was not very keen on rebuilding the tower, until a famous Latvian architect decided that, you know what, I'll build you a very modern concrete tower with all of the viewing platforms and then a very nice elevator. You help me rebuild this church. And so they did. Right behind me, the famous House of Blackheads. This is probably the most symbolic building in the entire country. It is just absolutely gorgeous and detailed, decorated with gold and all the others, but unfortunately it was bombed down during the World War II, and the Soviets were not exactly keen on reconstructing it either, so it was actually rebuilt in 1999. But if you look closely, why is it called the Blackheads? Well, actually in the front at the corner you're gonna see Saint Mauritius, which is basically an Arab. They think the Arabs are a little much darker, so they just call it Blackheads. They erected the first ever Christmas tree that was decorated, and that was probably in the 14th century, and that was just absolutely mind-blowing. The first decorated Christmas tree was ever erected here in Riga, and you have a plaque commemorating it. Wow, and look at the people cleaning snow from this Art Nouveau building. Oh my god. Okay, that is actually dangerous. That is like a safety hazard right there. Yeah, if I got hit by that, I'll probably stay in hospital for the rest of my trip. So right down the street over there, you can see the Liberty Monument, and that is to commemorate the independent nation of Latvia. Latvia officially gained independence in 1918. Unfortunately, before that, it was 700 years of German occupation, and then every single person has occupied Latvia during that time. And finally, when they gained independence in 1918, they had to fight off every single person who still wanted to occupy Latvia. So they fought the Danish, they fought the Swedes, they fought the Russians, they fought the Bolsheviks, they fought the Germans, they fought everyone. And finally, in 1921, they were officially a republic. Well, up here you can see the main cathedral. And yeah, it's gorgeous, isn't it? And you can see it's a red brick building, and that means it is a German-built architecture. And the Germans, they were Catholics. And then Latvia became the first nation to become a Protestant nation during the Reformation. So this church changed into Protestant. And then the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth decided to come over and occupy, and they are Catholic, so they decided to change it back to Catholic. And then the Swedish came, and they changed back to Protestants, and nowadays it's changed back to Catholic. And on the top it's still a rooster instead of having a cross as mandated by the Catholicism. And this is the Three Brothers. If you ever read about Riga, you're gonna hear about the Three Brothers, and these are actually three buildings, and they go from right to left. This is a medieval building. You can see it's a very old, pretty crooked, not exactly the most beautiful in town. And then you have a Middle Ages one. Ah yeah, look at this, a beautiful, built in 1646. And then here is the newest one, the Art Nouveau. And why do they keep getting smaller and smaller? Well, that's because of 2 points. First, there's this thing called land, and it's getting increasingly scarce in Riga during the years. So of course, there's less land to build on, and the building has to get smaller. And the second thing is a facade tax. That means the bigger the surface area of the front is, the more you have to pay in this tax. So of course, in order to avoid paying ridiculous tax prices, you go smaller and smaller and smaller in the front. And right in the front here is the Great Guild Hall. This used to be the place where all the German traders will concentrate, and then because it's a great honor to be part of the guild, a lot of Latvians want to be part of it. But unfortunately, Latvians are not allowed here in the old guild hall. And that angered one particular gentleman who is very rich and Latvian. So he decided to build this building. And you can see on top of it has a little cat. Yeah. It's just, you know, when it was built, its derriere was facing the guild hall instead. So that, of course, angered a lot of the German traders who just think that, you know, it's a great dishonor to have a black cat having its butt facing the guild hall. So they decided to negotiate. Eventually, this became the first Latvian to get the guild's membership. And right behind me is the Joniela Street, and this was just one of the many Art Nouveau streets here in Riga. But this one, for a lot of the old Russian viewers of mine, you will understand that this street is very, very familiar to a lot of you, because this is the setting of the very famous Soviet production of the Soviet Sherlock Holmes as a Baker Street. But you can see that it's not exactly Victorian, but this is as close as a lot of the directors can get in the Soviet Union to a Western Europe landscape, because Riga has so much influence from the western side of the continent. And here I'm standing in front of Lido, one of the probably the most famous and most well-renowned Latvian beer house. Well, Latvians, because of their German heritage, they also really like beer. But yeah, it's situated in a gorgeous, gorgeous Art Nouveau building. Oh my god, that was so cold. Oh, I couldn't even feel my hands anymore. My boots are frozen. I can't feel my toes even now. But thankfully, I'm inside, I'm warmer, and I'm staring down a very beautiful plate of Latvian food. So I start with this. It's some kind of soup, but they put pancakes in it. Sauerkraut, because, you know, this might as well be German cuisine. And then some kind of cabbage wrapped with pork. This is supposed to be really local, as the other people told me.
298 frozen patties later.
I want to talk about this building right there, underneath the glistening sun. That is the National Palace of Culture. And it is built in a very specific shape, because this comes from the old folk legend of Latvian tradition that there is some kind of castle of light of a lost wisdom that sank into the bottom of a lake. And through darkness, through retribution and a lot of effort, the people are gonna be able to reclaim the lost wisdom. And after 50 years of Soviet occupation, the World War II, and a lot of the other atrocities, the Latvian nation built this as like a symbol of their reclaimed wisdom after so much darkness. And now it houses one of the most beautiful and gorgeous modern architecture in the world, and also it has tons and tons of ancient Latvian documents and folklores and all of the others that preserve the lost knowledge of the Latvian culture. So in some ways it really is the Castle of Light. And next to the beautiful riverbank is this strange wooden statue. Well, this wooden statue has a lot of history to itself as well. So the legend goes by that before the city of Riga was ever founded, there was this giant, okay, called Ofero, living down here. His job is basically to carry people across the river. One day, suddenly, a little boy showed up, and then he carried it all the way through the middle of the river. But suddenly, the boy got so heavy, despite the giant's immense size, he was struggling to reach the other side. So after huffing and puffing and eventually exhausting himself, he reached the other side. And then the child got off and then said that, oh, by the way, my name is Jesus Christ, okay? And what you have just carried across the river is the sin of man. And that's why it's so heavy. And now let me baptize you myself. So he was baptized and changed his name to Kristofer, or Christ bearer. And when he returned to his cave, he found a hoard of gold, and he used that money to fund Riga. And that is why these days, before travels, a lot of the old-timey Riga citizens will come over and offer some flour to Kristofer himself to ensure a safe passage. As I chilled with the seagulls on the bridge for so long that I was frozen to the railing myself, the brief hours of sunshine was about to end. However, before darkness fully encroaches upon the city, it is time to visit a building that has a history even darker. Right behind me, on that side of the street, is the notorious Corner House. It was the headquarter of the KGB division here in Latvia when Soviet Union was in operation here. So I'm right now at the entrance to the building, and this is situated at the corner, and is the only publicly accessible point to the entire compound, thus giving this building the name of the Corner House. And now this is the access point, but also the ticketing counter, under the gaze of the first founder, Felix Dzerzhinsky, founder of the Cheka, also better known as KGB these days. And this box is particularly interesting. You see, it is for complaints and petitions. So complaints are not exactly the complaints against the practices of the KGB. That will be a relatively quick way for you to end up in this building yourself. But complaints is actually for complaints of your neighbors, of your relatives, of your ex-boyfriend who you don't like, and then you basically just spill the beans that, you know, this person is against the people. This is the booking room. They bring you through that door, and then, you know, here your photos are taken. For example, like this lady, yeah, didn't want to sell her land, enemy of the state. This one of the forest boys, yep, gathered ammunition and tried to kill the Red Army, enemy of state. That's the elevator for transporting prisoners. The inside set of doors is designed for prisoners, so they cannot attack the guards. Or outsides for guards. Yeah, pretty interesting. Yeah, this is one of the newer torture chambers. You know, they just ask you questions and then they will just beat you. Yeah, and then here is a one-way mirror. You can see here, it's complete, just a mirror. Right, but if you go through here, you can see exactly what the hell is going on. Look at this jail cell door. Pretty old-timey ones. Yeah, and all of the doors are exactly the same. So even if someone tries to escape, they will not be able to tell which way is out. This is solitary confinement. Literally just a box for you to sit in. Jesus Christ. This is a photo of 7 German Nazis getting hanged. Those are the last remaining Nazi officers here in Latvia when the Red Army marched in. They were kept in these cells. So dark, huh? Yeah, and then surprisingly, one of the Nazi officers was documented to be dead 7 days before the hanging was supposed to take place. The Soviets decided that they already told everyone they need to hang 7 people. So at that day, still 7 live men, seeing this photo, are still being hanged. Who's that 7th person, huh? Nobody knows.
This is how the execution chamber looked in the 40s. As you can see, plastic on the wall, it's pretty self-explanatory. Why? Blood, brain, everything. Just pour water on, everything washes away, everything is nice and clean. Drain at the end of the room for the same exact reason. But in my opinion, the most interesting piece is right here. First of all, look at the tiles. The same tiles we're currently standing on. And look at the wooden planks. They're going horizontally, which is this wall, these wooden planks right here. These are the original, this is the original wall from the 40s. And you can actually see there is another brick wall in front. Guys, this was found very, very recently. In 2017, one of our historians found a bullet stuck in the bricks. And we started tearing this whole place down and we found the original wall. And if you look at the picture now, it finally makes sense. The red and yellow dots are, of course, bullet holes. The difference being that the red marks are the bullet holes that the KGB's actually try to hide. Paint over or, you know, something like that. And if we walk over here, look at all the tiles right here. They are straight. So we do believe that there was actually a wall over here. And this door would be a very close replica of the door that was used back then. Soft cushion around, again to mute the gunshots. Your hands are tied behind your back. You go inside, you face one of the walls. Executioner is standing here, pistol ready, comes over to you, and a bullet or two in the back of your head. And that's it. They take your dead body, throw it in the back of the truck, wait till nighttime, open the big metal gates I showed you earlier, and drive outside. If we walk over here, these are just some photos of people who were here. Of course, ex-killed, not all of them, and almost all of the names that were identified in these mass graves. Keep in mind, these photos and these names, this is just during the first Soviet occupation. So I'm going to throw some numbers in this whole thing just so you have an understanding. During the first Soviet occupation, so from 1940 till 41, 186 people were killed in this room, and around 25,000 people were deported to gulags. During the second Soviet occupation, we estimate that from 500 to 600 people were killed in this room, and around 55,000 people were deported to gulags.
And with a heavy heart, I returned to my friend Benita's house in order to enjoy a local meal. Okay, so it's dinner time. Oh my god. Well, what do I have? It's like sausage and potato, right? That's boiled and fried. Apparently that's a thing. Sauerkraut. A big platter full of food. Oh my god. It's like pickle with ham. Yeah, definitely not for vegetarians. And what do you have, Benita?
I have potato and pancakes and sour cream.
Super Latvian, right?
Yeah, very Latvian. You can't skip sour cream.
Sour cream in everything, huh? Yeah, and then here's a burger.
That is super hot.
Yeah, nice. And then this is apparently a thing here. KVASS, right?
KVASS, yeah.
Yeah, apparently it's alcoholic, but not alcoholic enough. So they feed it to kids here.
You get that reputation.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's really good. Yeah, very, very malty. Oh, yeah. Apparently you put enough sugar in it, everything tastes good.
Several song-filled hours later.
So apparently, for dessert, I got this. It's called Bierspina Sierich. It's like cottage cheese. No, it literally means what?
Cottage cheese?
Okay, yeah. Apparently Latvians are not very good with names. Yeah, so it's cottage cheese with chocolate covered on top. And it sounds like, yeah, it tastes exactly like ice cream, but like not ice and not cream. It's pretty good though. Yeah, it's time to gain some weight.
The next day.
Oh, another beautiful day in paradise. It's so comfortable. Welcome to Riga Central Market. Holy moly, look at this. This is gigantic. The roof just towers over the entire market. And yeah, this is crazy big, right? Do you want to know why it's so big? At the turn of the 20th century, everyone thought Zeppelin's gonna be the next big thing. And Riga wanted to catch on the trend and constructed 5 gigantic hangars for Zeppelins. This is just one of the 5. And all of the others, they are also connected to the other side. They are all converted into one big central market. And yeah, it has more than 3,000 stalls and it sells everything. I mean everything. I'm here at the fish section, so you can see there's all kinds of fish. Cod, salmon, you name it. Yeah, and then there's another side full of medicine and then fruits, vegetables, meat, daily products, everything that you can imagine. So yeah, it is one of the coolest central markets in the entire world. Who gets to say that they bought their salmon in an old Zeppelin hangar, huh? Yeah, given the fact that almost no plant grows out here during the winter, I think the diet is like 90% bread and then 10% cheese, or vice versa. Yeah, look at all of the milk products here. Oh boy. Cheese, cream, cheese, cream.
Iecels tevi karietē, novedīsi vādzemē, iecels tevi karietē, novedīsi vādzemē, novedīsi vādzemē. Novedīsi vādzemē, tur tev liksim mežā braukti, novedīsi vādzemē, tur tev liksim mežā braukt, tur tev liksim mežā braukt. Tur tev liksi mežā braukti, tur tev liksi malku cirsti, tur tev liksi mežā braukt, tur tev liksi malku cirst, tur tev liksi malku cirst.
Oh, and there's no better way to have lunch than sitting right beside the stalls. They have some classic Latvian smoked chicken, and then a KVASS. Oh yeah, I'm falling in love with this drink. It's like the best thing that has happened to me since like sliced bread. Okay, so I ordered a bread soup, right? So this comes in like this. Apparently, they put bread in soup, and it's a dessert. What? It's what? Gotta try it, right? It's a cream on top. Some kind of rye bread, probably chopped up. It's like a cake? No, it's like a smoothie. Bread smoothie.
Later that same evening.
So the dinner today is kebab per European tradition and this special thing. Riga black balsam. Some kind of medicinal alcoholic strong spirit. And it always comes in like, was it ceramic?
It's clay.
Clay bottle. Briaka. Oh no, my God.
Pretty strong.
Oh my God.
45.
Oh, it's burning everywhere. Ooh, very medicinal.
Day 3.
And one of the best ways of discovering Riga is simply by walking around. Riga has one of the best preserved entire areas of pure Art Nouveau building. And for example, this one behind me. This is probably one of the most impressive Art Nouveau building I've ever seen in my life. And then there's Peacock at the very front. And at the top there are two gigantic human heads. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And here's the kicker. It's still used as an apartment building. So if you move here to Riga, you can probably rent for like 400 or 500 euros and get an absolutely astonishing apartment here in the downtown Riga. Yeah, look at this one behind me. And if you look in the middle, you can see that it was founded in 1902. This is because at the time, Riga was expanding like crazy. There's a lot of demand for people moving in from the countryside in order to work the factory jobs. So these apartments were completely built from the ground up, and then all of them just decided to choose Art Nouveau style, and that's very, very rare in any European city. And this one has many more geometric shapes, and up there's even hearts. Yeah, I've never seen that before. And in the middle, the lady is sleeping. Wow, look at this building. And up there are 3 people just singing or screaming, not exactly sure. And then there are lions on this side, and there's lions on that side, and all of the rounded windows, curved windows. Beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. And the next one as well. Yeah, actually the entire street is all Art Nouveau. Holy moly, look at this one. Wow, this is the Swedish embassy. But you can see the first 2 floors is more geometric shapes. And up there, there are lady holding up the wreaths. And then just completely naked ladies sitting at the bow of a ship. Yeah, and then up there, there are men holding up the columns. Everything is going on at the same time. It's so busy. Wow, and next door is the Irish embassy. Look at this. Yeah, first floor you can see the ram motif. Second floor is like singers. And all of them are decorated with large peacocks. Going up, a lot of ladies, human motifs. At the top floor, you can see the window being surrounded by some kind of heavenly angels. And over there is like more farming theme. Right, is that wheat or something? The human heads. Absolutely stunning as well.
One frozen wasteland later.
And my friend Benita and John taking me somewhere. Where are we going, Benita?
We're going to Daugavgriva, which has got old fortresses from the Swedish war times and World War I and World War II times.
Tur tev liksi mežā braukti, tur tev liksi malku cirsti, tur tev liksi mežā braukti.
So this is the Latvian coastline, huh? Everything is frozen, even my feet. Yeah. Oh, it's so cold here, but it's so beautiful.
Tev liksi malku cirst, tur tev liksi malku cirst. Kad tu malku sacirtīsi, tad tev liksi guni kurti. Kad tu malku sacirtīsi, tad tev liksi guni kurt. Tad tev liksi guni kurt. Kad tu gunis sakurīsi, tad tev liksi bruņas kalti. Kad tu gunis sakurīsi.
Okay, and right behind me is a large Swedish fortress built in the 1600s. Yeah, they used to be the dominant force around this region, so they built this completely with moat that is completely frozen over, you can see. And here's the entrance. So I think I'm standing on top of some kind of Swedish fortification, then later modified by Germans and then Soviets and blah blah blah. There's another one over there. There's quite a few bunkers you can see through the branches over there. It's all old concrete. Wow, look at that. It's just the ruins in the snow. Let me try to get closer. What's inside?
There's some proper metal doors. It's quite dark.
Oh yeah, it's so dark.
Kad tu bruņas nosakalsi, tad tev liksi karā ieti. Kad tu bruņas nosakalsi, tad tev liksi karā iet. Tad tev liksi karā iet.
That is it of my adventure here in Riga, Latvia. If you enjoyed this video, please consider clicking the like button. And also subscribe if you want to follow me in the next episode into the capital of Ireland, Dublin. And also check out this companion piece of my adventure here in Riga about the first ever Christmas tree ever made. And I will see you around.